What's going on, everybody? This is John Jake Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with the special presentation of Conference Championship Weekend here in the FCS Dynasty, where we got 5 automatic qualifier spots being dished out here this evening, and it begs the question, who will ultimately be the last 5 guaranteed spots to go into the FCS playoffs. We're going to find that out and a little bit more potentially at the end of this episode, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing, of course, and hope you guys are excited for this episode. And if you are, make sure you go ahead, smack that like button, hit the subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. We'll start with the ACSA Championship. We got Delaware taking on James Madison here in this very first Conference Championship game, as that is a dot to Elijah McCoy running down the sideline and making that big time catch. They're going to need a lot of bats today if Delaware is going to pull the upset. James Madison in line for a first round bye here possibly, but Blumenthal having a great opening drive as that gets them inside the 5-yard line. They will end up settling for a field goal though. Don't know if that's going to cut it against this James Madison team, because they have to go up against Stephen Terry, who is capable of making throws just like the one that we just saw. And that was Brad Ondrauzi there running it down the sideline and picking up a huge chunk of yards as well. They're already in Delaware territory as Terry again throws to the right hand side, but it's going to be intercepted. He's going to be intercepted, taking it down the sideline, and that's a touchdown for the Blue Hens. They're off to a fantastic start as this Delaware squad, they've been in this position before, but they pulled an upset like this back in year number 3, which did take them into the FCS playoffs because of that. But man, we'll see if they can keep that up for a whole game. This James Madison offense, it's something else. Brad Ondrauzi is going to make a big time catch here. Gonna dive right in front of Brian Ramsey, who does also play quarterback. He plays corner for the Blue Hens as well. As Brad Daniels going to get in there for the sack. He gets his first sack of the game. As that will start to wrap up the first quarter of action. Delaware does get that big first punch off, but James Madison hanging in there. As this is actually the last play of the first quarter here, as Terry throws over the middle of the field, has a receiver, and it's caught by Jonathan Henderson. First down for James Madison, and now just 10 yards away from tying this ball game up. First and goal from the 10-yard line. Stephen Terry lines up under center. He will have trips to the left as Terry's got some time to work with. Fires, finds a receiver, and they will call that a touchdown for Brad Ondrauzi. That will make it a tie ball game at 10 apiece. But man, both of these quarterbacks playing pretty well here today. You know, both Kevin Blumenthal and Stephen Terry putting together some pretty good performances. Just hasn't exactly showed on the scoreboard yet. We do have a good one on our hands though, as Terry fires over to the right hand side. That's going to be intercepted. This time Ryan Arnold gets his hands on the ball. Let's go, man. Ryan Arnold coming to play today as Blumenthal lines up under center after the interception. Looks to make this a 2-score game. Blumenthal dropping back, but gets dropped in the backfield by Ball Davis. And Davis will make this a 3rd and long from the 20-yard line. We'll see if Delaware, how they attack this 3rd down. They do have the field goal in their pocket as Blumenthal gets sacked again. Another sack for Paul Davis, who gets in there for the 2nd time in the last couple of plays. And that particular sack was huge because that actually does force him out the effective field goal range of this Delaware kicker. He's not the best kicker in the country, obviously. And it's going to remain a 3-point game. It's still a very close game here. Could very much go in either direction, but Stephen Taylor says he's done with that. He's going to try to lead his team to the lead as he's now got a 1st and goal from the 6 after a long pass play to the running back. Going to be a play action. Next play, throwing over the middle of the field, and it's tipped away. That was going to go to Kevin Crum, the big body tight end. But instead, we're looking at 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line. Taylor looks to the right hand side, finds Brad Androwsy in the end zone. Touchdown, Dukes. And they're duking it out here in the ACSA championship game. They now have a 1-point lead. Delaware cannot answer on the next possession, but what we will see Delaware do, though, their big-time wide receiver down the sideline. He'll gonna get this ball returned all the way back. That will be a touchdown for the Delaware Blue Hens. They will go for the 2-point conversion, but the 2-point conversion is not successful. So it is just a 5-point game here as of right now, as we will actually see Brian Ramsey come into the game. He does have a jersey number change. He was actually originally number 3. He now wears number 10. And that's good to know here if we have more Delaware football after this game. But Brian Ramsey nearly throwing an interception there. Threw that into some very dangerous traffic. Very fortunate that ball was not intercepted. Instead, it will be a 3rd and long from the 27-yard line as Ramsey tries to settle the play action, but is quickly snuffed out by Jose Pilo, the sophomore corner, who comes in there and lights that play up. Delaware again cannot score because they're outside of field goal range. So the Dukes down by 5. With this being the last play of the 3rd quarter, getting it out to the outside, he finds Jonathan Henderson, the senior wide receiver. Kind of their Swift Army knife guy, can also play safety and running back as well if need be. But now we get into that 4th quarter of action, 1 quarter away from deciding the ACC championship game as the Delaware defense gets a big-time fumble, and it's recovered by the Fighting Blue Hens. Once a play by the defensive line, stripping it out of the hands of Stephen Terry. But again, they can't score. James Madison is still in this football game. Less than 4 minutes left to play, though. And it seems like this Blue Hen squad, at least offensively, they're just hanging on for dear life. But they can finish it off right here, trying to run it out to their tailback. Tailback is going to be dropped in the backfield again by Paul Davis. He's been everywhere. And eventually Delaware did have to settle for the field goal. Now the ball's in the hands of this James Madison team. Can they drive down the length of the field? They go to the outside. Jonathan Henderson does get dropped in bounds, but it's a 22-yard gain. Henderson is approaching 100 yards of total offense. But unfortunately, the drive will stall out after that. And Delaware is going to possibly steal a bid. Delaware will be going to the FCS playoffs as they are going to be your ACC conference champion. How about that? They get to 8-4 while they give James Madison the upset. And it also hurts the Dukes tremendously. They will no longer be going for that first round bye. So now we check into a game that is considered the FCS game of the week, by the way. We got number 2 Sam Houston State taking on another team that has the exact same record at 10-1, but does not have the national recognition that Sam Houston State may have. That's why Texas State, they are ranked just number 16 in the country. So here they are, the Bobcats. They have this great record here in the regular season, and yet they're fighting for their FCS playoff lives. I don't know if they survive the bubble if they lose this game. So even though they have this great record, Texas State, this is a must-win for them. As for Sam Houston State, they can lock up a first-round bye if they win their conference championship here. We'll see who wants it more. As Sam Houston State will start with the football, and they get a big-time throw out to the left-hand side. That's David Bullock already going to work saw the one-on-one matchup on the outside, and they are already crossed midfield. Later on in the drive, though, Bullock drops back. He tries to fire to the right-hand side, looking for his running back, but Brian Price is going to deny that and a lot more, as that will be intercepted, although that will set up Texas State inside the 10-yard line. So Texas State does not do anything after the turnover, but they do prevent Sam Houston State from scoring, so that is certainly a big win. Sam Houston State, they're more than capable of putting a lot of points on the board quickly, and they got some good receivers. Craig Gregg being one of them. He's the veteran of this wide receiver room. But Mike Miniacci, he's their explosive guy, the impact star player, as he's able to get out into the flat, and he just has this innate ability to get a lot of yards after catch, even when it doesn't make sense. Is now second and long now, going back over to the flat area, but this time the flat guy was lit up like a Christmas tree. Take a look at this hit. I don't know how he hangs on to that football, but either way, that's a big price to play for just a couple of yards. So now 3rd and 9 coming up as Bullock tries to get rid of this football, and Jamarcus Russell, not to get confused with the all-time bust, he used to play quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He's going to force the ball out of David Bullock's hands, and we're after a quarter of play. We still haven't had any points scored yet, as Mitchell McJones tries to make something happen. He'll throw an interception as well. So we're going to end this first quarter of action. Nobody has scored yet, and this is a lot different than what I thought this game was going to go at first. These are two teams that rank top 5 in the country in terms of points scored per game, and both defenses locking it down so far. Got to applaud the effort. It's now 3rd and 6 now, as Sam Houston State looks to be the first man on the board, and we get yet another sack as David Bullock. We understand clearly what Texas State wants to do. They want to make sure David Bullock doesn't have any time to read things. And the Sam Houston State kicker actually misses the field goal. So now, still all tied up at 0. Nobody really doing anything. It's just a matter of time, though, I would imagine, before that goose egg is finally written off the scoreboard. And Mitchell McJones, one of your guys' customs, a Season 1 custom. Yeah, we got ourselves an OG custom here in this SEC championship game. He does fumble the football. Unfortunately, maybe Sam Houston State can finally take advantage and firing over the middle of the field and finds Craig Gregg. And Craig Gregg, another OG custom, puts Sam Houston State in the red zone. Call plays later in the red zone, no. 2nd and 2 as Mike Miniacci takes the handoff, and finally we have a score here in the SEC championship game. Sam Houston State is going to take the lead. So just 2 minutes left to play here in the first half as Mitchell McJones looks to respond. He fires a nice ball out to the left-hand side that does get into Sam Houston State territory, I should say. That does lead to a field goal. So you would think with 5 seconds left here in the first half, they would just squib the ball. No, they do not squib kick this. Instead, they kick it right to their explosive special teams guy, who's going to make them pay for the last play of the first half. Sam Houston State with a 95-yard touchdown return, in the Bearcats with a 14-3 lead. So Texas State in a hole here in this second half. We'll see if they can dig themselves out of it. If they want to dig themselves out of it, they got to rely on their quarterback, Mitchell McJones, who has had a very good year so far. 19 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. Been very efficient with the football, but he's going to need to go to work here. Jones going to run out to the right-hand side, makes a linebacker miss, trying to get it into the end zone, and they're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line. Thought he was going to be able to punch it into the end zone all by himself, but that just does not happen here, although there will be a goal line opportunity for the Bobcats, and they are very strong in the red zone. One of the best red zone teams in the entire country. McJones lines up, gets it out to the halfback, and the halfback is going to carry it in. Touchdown, Bobcats. And Texas State is going to be right back into the game. Only down by 4 points now. So David Bollick knows he's going to have to put up more points on the board. And it's a good thing he's got a healthy Bundy of big-time weapons on the outside there too. We'll see if Sam Houston State can finish this drive off as well. 2nd and 10 from the 42-yard line as Bollick's in shotgun, but they are not fooled by the play action as Texas State immediately gets into the backfield. And that will be a loss of 4 there. Just terrible awareness there. Running back's got to pick that up. Chop block, do something. Instead, it's 3rd and 14, and David Bollick wants it all! And he's not going to get anything. It's going to be intercepted. They will mark him down at the 1-yard line. This will not be considered a touchback, so think of it as a long arm punt that Coffin cornered there that Texas State really needs to get themselves out of. Helps by getting this first down, which they do pick up. And that is a huge sigh of relief as well, because that's the last thing that you really want to do. You do not want to go out here and go about punting the football out of your own end zone. Just isn't good. We'll see if Mitchell McJones can do something with it here. Now he's got the open playbook with him, and sure enough, he does. How about that drive in response? And after a tough first half for the Texas State Bobcats, 2 consecutive scoring drives, and they start the second half on a 14-0 run. Texas State, they'll have the lead going into this final quarter. But Sam Houston State isn't going to go down without a fight, as they'll immediately drive down the field as soon as the 4th quarter does get underway. And with 5:15 left to play, Mike Miniacci will revive the lead for Sam Houston State. But it is just a 4-point difference. Can go either way. McJones gets it out to the tailback down the sideline. Still on his feet. And he finally gets shoved out of bounds. Jason Green has not carried the football very much all season long. But man, that was his best run the entire season. I mean, look at this run. How many tackles he broke? 1 tackle, 2 tackles, 3 tackles. He refused to go down a human pinball machine. So now, 1st and goal for the 9-yard line. Dropping back, McJones firing over the right-hand side, but it's intercepted. Is that the dagger for Sam Houston State? Paris Harris certainly thinks so, as I don't know what Mitchell McJones was looking at, but I don't think that's it, Chief. However, Sam Houston State cannot close the door, so 3:51 left to play in this ball game, and now Mitchell McJones has to lead his guys downfield. This could be their final possession of the season. Pick things up a few plays later. 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line, as Green is going to take the handoff up the middle. He already has a touchdown, but he's going to get lit up there trying to run into the hole. But in spite of that, Texas State still marches on. A chance to take the lead, and they do. It's the fullback that gets the surprise carry. He gets his name called, and he answers the call. Now Texas State has the lead, 24-21. Bollick trying to lead his guys down the field with less than a minute to play. Bollick firing, and it's caught! It's intercepted though. And Texas State, they just need 1 more first down. That is all that they need. 1 first down on their offensive possession, and they will guarantee their very first trip to the FCS playoffs here in this series. But on the following play though, Justin Green, who's been great all day today, he puts the ball on the ground. And Sam Houston State, they don't even have to use their timeouts. They now have the football right back in their hands. That is a critical play. So now, 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line as Sam Houston State takes over. Bollick has to navigate the pocket, finds Craig Gregg, And Craig having a nice day. 5 catches, 82 yards so far in this one. Playing in his last SEC championship. That does get Sam Houston State to the red zone. We'll see if they try to go for the jugular. But I think after that disaster, they might just go ahead, settle for the field goal. And they will go ahead and bring their field goal team out. If they kick this in, we're going to overtime. If not, Texas State is going to be your SEC champion. The 40-yard field goal, it's up, and it's wide left. It's no good, no good. Texas State is going to pull the upset. And the Texas State Bobcats, they are going to the FCS playoffs for the very first time. Put some respect on their name. They came in 10-1, but in spite of that, on the bubble possibly, here today, they put those fears to rest, and they get the automatic bid here. It was a very competitive SEC championship, definitely an up and down affair. Not as much scoring as I expected, but this is still the classic that we were hoping for. But before we go ahead and jump into the last conference championship game that we got, we'll check in on a couple of smaller conferences that did decide their automatic qualifier. Akron, they did what they were supposed to do all year. They beat the teams on their schedule, and they will be rewarded by not only winning the MAC conference, they beat Central Michigan 38-35, but they also will very likely clinch the #1 seed in the FCS playoffs. The championship this year runs through the Akron Zips. Meanwhile, in Conference USA, in what was a win-or-go-home situation, Rice will now be on a 4-game winning streak. It'll be interesting to see where they rank in the FCS playoffs this year, unranked, but they do finish the year on a 4-game winning streak. Rice now 8-4 as they beat Eastern Carolina in a bitter defensive struggle, winning 16-13 in overtime. And now, let's go to our final conference championship game, that is for the Big 12 Conference. But now we get into our final conference championship game in this episode. And this conference championship game, the Big 12 Championship, it is a must-win for Alcorn State, just like it was a must-win for the Delaware Blue Hens earlier on in this episode. If Alcorn State wins, they'll go to their very first FCS playoff appearance in this series. But if they lose, they'll also be sitting this thing out on the couch. But they have a tough opponent ahead of them. Texas Southern, who does come in ranked number 13 in the entire country. And they also have one of the best running backs in the entire nation as well, Roderick Murray, who comes in 1,500 rushing yards on the season. That does lead the entire NCAA. But when you got their passing game going off like this, then that could very well be a problem, as we will see Texas Southern get started with a 7-yard passing touchdown. Yeah, that is Adam Mayhew cooking up the Alcorn State defense early. And when Texas Southern has a lead, that's a problem. Tigers have one of the best defenses in the country, averaging less than 200 yards allowed per game, as you can see why. Ain't nowhere to go with the football there. And Rod Robertson, he's finding that out the hard way. He is certainly finding out the hard way right now as we speak, as that does end up getting intercepted. And now Texas Southern can make this a 2-score game quickly. Mayhew drops back. He's got time to work with. Fires towards the end zone. He's got a man, and it's caught! Touchdown, Texas Southern! That might have been Roderick Murray who came down with the catch on the wheel route. Just trusting his guy, a Heisman watch list guy, to make a play, and he certainly made one there. So Alcorn State already down 14-0. And if Rod Robertson's going to lead this comeback, he's going to need some help from his offensive line. He's going to have a long day if they can get free lanes like that. And now it's 3rd and 17 as Robertson finds some time, fires to the right-hand side, and does find his favorite receiver, Josiah Greenwood. And he's a big reason why Rod Robertson now sits with over 10,000 career passing yards. One of the better passers that we've seen in the FCS Dynasty. Someone that could very well when all things are said and done, get himself some NFL consideration. I believe he's a junior, so he would have one more year after this, but definitely someone to monitor in the offseason as Robertson trying to make something happen, but he gets sacked yet again. Texas Southern, they are just all over this guy. They do not want to give him any breathing room whatsoever. And so Alcorn State, they had to punt the football away. As now, 3rd and 1. We see the fullback get involved. On those 3rd and shorts, you would think that Roderick Murray would get the carry. Everybody in the stadium was. But no, they go to the fullback instead. Nobody was expecting that. And that fullback, he was huffing and puffing his way into the end zone. Alcorn State quickly down 21-0. However, Alcorn State, they still got a little fight left in them as the Alcorn State quarterback, he's going to find his receiver over the middle of the field and does pick up a nice chunk of yards, but it does not lead to anything though. And this could be a long day for the Alcorn State Braves as again, Roderick Murray does end up getting loose. Already getting to midfield, just following his blockers downfield. Actually, I'm very shocked he didn't take that all the way to the crib. Most of the time he does, so that was great effort by the Alcorn State defender to at least make him work for it a little bit more. But yeah, Alcorn State, they just come out. They just looked completely underprepared. They look like they are way over their heads right now. Although there's some football left to be played. They got to get a stop here. 1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Mayhew drops back. He's having a great game himself. He's going to continue that great game as he finds his stud wide receiver, Solomon West, into the end zone. And that is a touchdown for Texas Southern again. And it looks like it's going to be a 28-0 lead going into halftime. Second half, though, Rod Robertson's Alcorn State squad, they will start with the football. And listen, if it's broke, don't fix it. Josiah Greenwood. There's going to have to be a lot of connections between these two if they want to make this 4-touchdown comeback. Looking over to the right-hand side, though, as they try to get other receivers involved. That fullback paid a very hefty price. And now, 2nd and goal from the 10-yard line. Robertson looks to the left-hand side and finds Josiah Greenwood in the end zone. Touchdown, Braves. And so Alcorn State finally gets on the board, but can they stop Roderick Murray? And the answer, probably not. To be fair, a lot of teams have not been able to stop Roderick Murray this season. He's been able to do his thing all year long. They have dominated in the trenches as they go back to Roderick Murray looking for his first touchdown on the ground, and he's gonna get it. Touchdown, Tigers. And Texas Southern looking to pour it on as they try to make a case to be a first-round bye squad. As now in the 4th quarter, they get to a point where they put the backups in. The backups got into the game, and we see Andrew Akbar, the true freshman that actually competed pretty well with Adam Mayhew in spring ball. He'll connect with a fellow custom, N.J. Balmer. And Texas Southern, they will win the Big 12 Conference as they handily destroy Alcorn State in this one. So it looks like for the Alcorn State Braves, their season is done. But for Texas Southern, they could make a case for themselves as they try to plead to this FCS playoff committee that, hey, we are more than deserving of the opportunity to go play as a first-round bye squad. So at the end of the conference championships, we actually do get a surprise in terms of being unveiled with the Heisman Trophy presentation. And in this Heisman Trophy presentation, there were 5 candidates for winning the Player of the Year. We got Brent Cunningham of New Mexico State. We also have Dustin Arnold of Utah State. Also in here is Marty Subar, a senior wide receiver from Akron. Stephen Terry, James Madison quarterback, lost in the ACC. And of course the guy that we just saw, Roderick Murray, the senior running back. And they will end up giving the Heisman Trophy to Brent Cunningham, the receiver from New Mexico State. So every single FCS game in the regular season, as well as in that conference championship weekend, it's done. When we started this season originally, there were 119 teams that believed had a legitimate shot of winning the national championship. Well, now we start to whittle down that field and we get to the teams that have serious chances of getting into the national championship. And it all starts with the playoff bracket being revealed in the next episode. I just completed the bracket, and that FCS playoff bracket here in year number 5, that will be unveiled in the next episode. It will be unveiled in the very next episode, and I am excited to bring that FCS playoff bracket in your direction. 24 teams, 1 championship trophy. Who's going to bring it home? And who's going to make that 24 team field? We'll find out next time out that we bring FCS football here on the channel. But in the meantime, though, I hope you guys did enjoy the conference championship episode here in year number 5. And if you did, I really need you guys to do me a big favor for me. I need you guys to go ahead, smack that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button as well if you do happen to be brand new to the channel. This is John J Gaming on the mic signing off, but I'm hoping you guys are out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.